Okay, welcome everyone. Let's call to order today's Ways and Means Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. Please remember to silence or basically silence your phones or any devices so that the meeting is not interrupted. Please also remember that the microphones are very sensitive and would pick up cross chatter, which could be confusing to the ladies when they do the minutes. So with those warnings, would everyone please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Carrie Ann, roll call, please.
Nagusakis.
Present.
O'Donnell. Fagion.
Here.
Ruskovich. Hines.
Here.
Kiara. Cheney.
Here.
Luhan.
Present.
Benton.
Here.
Ria.
All right, thank you. Let the record show also that the Chairwoman Benelli is here as well.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, let's get right to it because we got a long one. First up, Emergency Services, Mr. Sirigliano, Commissioner, welcome.
Good afternoon.
This is, I think, your first time to Ways and Means, so
Maybe second.
maybe second. Welcome.
Thank you.
A is request supplemental appropriation for the installation of an additional hypochlorinator at the Emergency Services Center to improve the water system in the building. The additional hypochlorinator is needed at the recommendation of the Orange County Department of Health. The Emergency Services Building has been on a precautionary boil water order since 12/21/2021. This is proposed capital project number 58 of 2024. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $340,000. Motion in a second, please. Joan, Cheney. Sir.
Pretty self-explanatory. The Emergency Services Center is in need of a new hydrochlorinator at the recommendation of the Department of Health. The money utilized here, although it has to go out to bid, approximately $175,000 for the system cost, and then approximately $25,000 for engineering costs. But again, it does have to go out for bid.
Is this a new piece of equipment or just a better replacement for something that's failing?
Yeah, it's an additional piece, newer type of hydrochlorinator. What's taken so long is the design of it, but it's a new piece of equipment.
Okay. Questions? Mr. Hines?
Yeah, is the medical examiner's office gonna have their own, or can we make one that make the whole complex good?
This is specifically for the Emergency Services Center, the hydrochlorinator. I don't know what the medical examiner's water.
I don't.
They're gonna have their own, the medical examiner's building will have their own system, almost the same exact system we're putting in here. It's an additional chlorination system.
Would it be better to have one to take care of both buildings?
You have to do it individually in each building because it has to be after the carbon filters. Right now, the water goes through the carbon filters and it filters out the chlorine in the water.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. B is a request to accept and appropriate fiscal year 2022-2023 hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant program funds from New York State Homeland Security and Emergency Services. Funding will be used to finance 10 hazardous materials teams members for Orange, Ulster, Sullivan, and Rockland counties trip to the International Hazardous Materials Conference in Baltimore, Maryland, scheduled for June, July 2024. This is a regional grant, and Orange County will be accepting the funds to reimburse the above counties for their expenses to attend the conference. Total amount $16,000. Motion in a second, please.
Thank you.
Hines, sir.
Yeah, this is to provide training, specific training for the hazmat team, which is vital to their operation. It's specifically to attend that training in Baltimore, Maryland.
And how long is it for?
I believe it's a couple days, but I don't know the exact time.
Okay. If you could find out, just
Yep,
the
of course.
legislature know so they can let us all know. All right. Questions from committee members or others? Hearing none, all in favor as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. C is a request to accept and appropriate fiscal year 2023-2024 hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant program funds for New York State Homeland Security and Emergency Services. Funding will be used for the training of the county's hazmat team, along with members from partnering counties for conference training in hazardous materials and unknown transportation-related hazardous materials, advanced monitoring of known and unknown substances. Again, the amount is in $16,000. Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Luhan, second, Hines. Sir?
This money is more based towards the transportation of hazardous material, and it's regionally as well.
Okay, questions from committee members? All in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. D is a request supplemental appropriation to restore the Stop DWI program unexpended revenue that was dedicated to Orange County Stop DWI program and was rolled into the general fund at the end of 2023. The revenue is the remaining balance of the one-time appropriation from the State of New York Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, an amount of $19,083.
So moved.
Luhan, Fagion. Sir?
This revenue is used to purchase community outreach items such as specialty items, high visibility enforcement, checkpoint signs, really just based on community outreach.
Okay. Questions from committee members or others? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. E, request supplemental appropriation to restore the Alive 25 unexpended revenues that were rolled into the general fund at the end of 2023. The revenues are generated from a court-mandated program for first offender teenagers who receive traffic violations. This program is administered by the National Safety Council, who receives a portion of the fees collected. This amount would be $4,538.72. Motion in a second, please. Fagion? I'll second. Sir?
Revenue is used to promote education for safe driving initiatives, especially in our youth, for our teens, all with the goal of reducing the number of automobile accidents with the youth in the county.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy. Take care.
Next up, Donna.
Hi,
Hello. Welcome.
and everyone. Mr. Ledoux is out today.
Alrighty. This is a request supplemental appropriation of funds for proposed 2024 capital expenditure to purchase FEES fiber optic endoscopic evaluation of swallowing diagnostic equipment in the amount of $25,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Mr. Lujan?
I'll second.
Fagion? Donna?
Okay, so this piece of equipment will allow us to evaluate the swallowing functions of the residents. Currently, we're doing that with a contracted service. So we've taken a look at this, and this piece of equipment has a 10-year useful life. We can reduce the expense that we paid out in the last 2 years, and we'll be able to bill for those swallowing evals under Medicare Part B. We estimate the return on investment to be approximately 18 months.
Mr. Anagnostakis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How much was the billing for the service that we were using per year? Do you know?
I have the 2-year, 15,300
For a 2-year
for
time
a
period?
2-year.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This kind of hits home for me because when my father was in the hospital, that was the first sign that things weren't good. All of a sudden, one day, stopped swallowing. They said they were going to have the teams come in the next couple days and test him for something we don't even think about.
Yeah, we use it a lot for patients with aphasia, with their speech. So it measures the movement
Mhm.
in the throat.
Mr. Cheney?
Do you have staff that's already trained to use this
Yes,
equipment?
yes, we do. We do. This piece of equipment doesn't require any additional calibration or anything, but we will have it for service once a year to make sure the electronics are functioning properly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, I thought there was going to be a letter right after this. I did get it from Carrie Ann. The Valley View balance was a little over 37 million at the end of December 31st.
Yes, that's correct. County Finance and I partnered and our numbers matched.
Yep. So again, I thought it was going to be part of the packet for everybody, but it's a little over 37. Okay. Okay, next up. Travis. Travis, Indiana. Welcome again, long time no see.
Thank you.
A is a request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for the Stony Ford Golf Course equipment. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 102. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. The amount is $109,172 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Fagion? Hines? And again, this did pass physical yesterday.
Thank you. This capital is for the Stony Ford Golf Course, and this is for equipment replacement. The couple of items that are slated to be purchased through this capital is a Toro Sand Pro that would be replacing a 2006 unit that has a blown engine and some hydraulic issues. We'd also be buying a fertilizer spreader. It's an attachment for the back of a tractor it's powered by a PTO. And the unit we're replacing is over 25 years old and has a rusted out frame on it. It's reached the end of its useful life. And then the last item under this equipment would be a Chevy 2500 crew cab. And it's replacing a pickup truck that's over 20 years old. It's significant body and frame rust.
I can definitely vouch for old Chevys having frame rot. That's why I had to get rid of my Avalanche. Literally framed with Swiss cheese.
Yep, I believe it.
All right. Any questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. B, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for the Hickory Hill Golf Course. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 103. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $61,563 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Fagion?
Second.
Cheney? Travis?
And this capital project would be to purchase equipment at Hickory Hill Golf Course. We have two items that we're purchasing with this. The first one is a Toro Pro-Cure aerator. It's replacing a aerator unit that has a broken frame and is not usable. And then the second item is another fertilizer spreader that was replacing a 2007 unit that has a rusted frame as well.
And the aerator is the machine that goes around and pulls out all those little plugs?
The divots.
Yeah. Right. Mr. Faggio?
Thank you, Chairman. Just a quick question. The last few years, you've come to us and talked about the success of golf at our two golf courses. The trend continues into 2024. We're optimistic that the numbers are continuing to be strong.
We're optimistic about that. Absolutely. I think our revenue in 2023 exceeded what we had budgeted and what we anticipated.
We'll keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. C, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for parks equipment. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 101. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $129,863 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Lujan, second. I'll second. Travis?
Thank you. This capital is for replacement of equipment throughout our parks maintenance facilities. We're looking to replace a Chevy 2500 crew cab, or to purchase a Chevy 2500 crew cab, replacing a pickup truck that's over 15 years old and again has significant frame and body rust. We're also looking to purchase 2 zero-turn mowers for our outlying parks. One will be going to Winding Hills, and the other will be going to Cromer and Algonquin Park. And then the last item would be a tire changing machine that is over 20 years old, has discontinued parts, and we utilize that piece of equipment, pretty much daily for replacing tires and on all of our vehicles throughout parks.
Okay.
And the 2 mowers that were replaced are over 20 years old. So,
All right, well used, I'm sure.
yes.
Questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. D, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for the building equipment replacement. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 100. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $50,000 to come from bonding. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Fagion?
Second.
Luhan? Travis?
This is basically an annual capital that we'd like to have in place so that we can replace as needed equipment within our buildings, whether it be a mechanical system that breaks or a piece of kitchen equipment, something to that effect. So there's not anything necessarily slated specifically right now, but it's basically a safety capital so that we can respond.
Balance carrying forward? None?
Yeah.
None? Okay, thank you, Deanne.
Yep.
Question, or any questions from committee members? Other legislators? Hearing none. All in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. E, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for the park's various capital improvements. This project has been approved under 2024 capital plan as project number 99. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $200,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Fagion?
Second.
Luhan? Travis?
This capital is for improvements throughout our park systems. Right now, we have it slated for replacement of a roof on the boathouse facility at Thomasville Park, along with construction of concrete sidewalks and some concrete pads at the D&H Canal Park by the adjacent to the playground that was recently installed. And we're looking to do a concrete sidewalk at Stony Ford, starting from where the new EV charging stations were installed by the cart pickup area, and heading down the hill parallel to the entrance road to allow for safer pedestrian access from the parking areas up to the facility. We're also looking to replace the indoor facility table and chairs at Plum Point, D&H, and the boathouse facilities. And then finally, we have several gates that we want to install at our maintenance facilities and some repair of fences.
Okay. Questions from committee members? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. F, the last one, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for paving at various parks locations. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 97. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $500,000. Motion in a second, please.
Second.
Fagion, Luhan, Travis.
This capital is for paving throughout our park system. We intend on utilizing it primarily for the Heritage Trail to finish the paving from Chester, or repaving the section of Heritage Trail from Chester out to Monroe. That paving operation will take place once we've replaced the 4 bridge decks that we have a project going out to bid very shortly for on that section of trail. And then we're also looking to pave the entrance road into Hickory, the Warwick Park and the Hickory Hill Golf Course. It would go from the intersection of 17A up to the area where the road widens off to go to the ball fields or to the golf area. And then the other area we're looking to utilize these funds for is paving a parking lot at the maintenance facility at the Warwick. It's in extreme disrepair.
Okay. Questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend. Eric? Eric's not here? Oh,
Eric's on today.
okay, no problem at all. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank
And Brian. All right, so A is a request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for non-highway paving projects. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 34. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is secret type 2 action as defined in section 617.5 C12. The amount to come from bonding is $100,000. Motion in the second, please. Luhan. Second, Chaining. And again, yes, this is something we do every year. Gentlemen.
So this is one of our annual asks for paving projects. This specific one is for off-highway paving. We separate them because the off-highway paving is a little more difficult, but you also get different contractors that will bid on it. So this is right now scheduled for potentially repaving our Warwick Maintenance District garage.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Cheney? Okay. Any other questions from committee members? All in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. B is request supplemental appropriation of $2,600,000 to the capital project budget for highway paving. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 36. $1,300,000 to come from bonding. The balance of $1,300,000 will come from the state consolidated local street and highway improvement program, otherwise known as CHIPS. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is a seeker type 2 action as defined in section 617.5 C1, 2, and 5. And again, this is 1.3 million from bonding.
So
Motion in a second, Luhan. I'll second. Gentlemen.
Again, this is our annual highway paving capital project. As the past couple of years, we've been matching it with CHIPS funding. We're expecting to do about 20 to 25 miles this year, which is about the same target that we've been doing for the past few years. Paving costs have stayed pretty stable over the past few years, but there was a decent increase in 2022. So we're working out total mileage and hoping to, hold steady with what the last increase was.
When does that bid go out for us to get the price established?
So it's just moved into general services, laws approved it, so it should be on the streets pretty quickly.
Okay. Good. Questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next is the request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for work at the Camp LaGuardia property to improve, preserve, and secure the property, including raising buildings, disposal, and environmental monitoring, environmental reporting, and costs related to securing buildings and perimeter, including vegetation and rubbish removal, fencing, and security monitoring. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 20. Upon approval, this will increase the existing capital project number 251. These activities constitute a type 2 action under seeker 6 NYCRR 617.5 C842. No further environmental review is required. The amount is $5 million to come from bonding. And you should all have maps and documentation in front of you to refer to for the next 2 or 3 things. Motion in a second, please. Fagione?
Second.
Second, Cheney? And again, this passed physical yesterday. Gentlemen,
All right, thank you. Yes, this is to continue the work at Campo Guardia. We, in 2023, this past year, we did quite a lot of work there, cleaning up some old buildings, raising some buildings, cleaning up a lot of debris. So we want to continue that now with some of the larger buildings up top as we move up top to get rid of the asbestos out of the buildings, and then we would be able to raise them ourselves with in-county forces for buildings 5, 3, and 2. Put some of that at the larger buildings up top. I don't know what else really there is. Any, questions or?
okay, and again, down here in the, what do they call these things again?
The legend.
Legends, yes. So you can see that 2 was called the Zanelli Building, 3, the Pearl Building, and 5, the barracks.
Right.
All right. Questions from legislators, committee members? Hearing no questions, all in favor as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. D is request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for building equipment replacement and installation. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 25. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created in the amount of $150,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Luhan,
Second.
Cheney. Gentlemen,
Okay, this is part of our, one of our annual programs. So we do this every year, ask for this money. So this year, we'd like to replace some heat pumps in Maple Building, circulator pumps in Perry Building, and then, the other balance would go toward other needs as they came up throughout the year for some of our equipment throughout the buildings.
questions? Okay, hearing no questions, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. E, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for various building improvements. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 24. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is a secret type 2 action. No further environmental review is required. This amount is for $350,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second.
So moved.
Cheney, I'll second. Gentlemen,
All right, thank you. This is another one of our annual programs for building capital improvements. So this year, we're looking to resurface the parking lot up at MCC, Middletown Community Campus, or 18 Seward, however you refer to that. Catch basin work up there as well. And then updating some office space in the DPW admin building and replacing some doors also and some work around.
questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. F, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for asbestos and lead removal at various locations. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 23. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is a secret type 2 action with no further environmental review required. The amount is $50,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please. Suhan, Fagione. Gentlemen.
Thank you. This is another one of our annual programs for asbestos and lead removal or identifying as such. This is on an as-needed basis. So when if issues come up, we can move fast and take care of it, get them taken care of.
Okay. Does this have a balance to be brought forward?
This one does not, no.
Okay. All right. Questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. G, request supplemental appropriations to the capital project budget for preliminary engineering and design of the Pelton Bridge replacement. Bin number 3345250 in the town of Warwick. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 45. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This project has been determined to be a type 2 action under seeker under NYCRR Part 617.5 C2. The amount is for $100,000 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Cheney. Fagion. Gentlemen.
Thank you. All right, so this is a bridge replacement project that we're going to be designing in-house with our engineers. This is just for design funding. The bridge is located on County Route 1A over the Wayway Under Creek. For those familiar with the area, it's right near the Warwick Bus Garage. There's also a railroad crossing on the other side. It's about a 40-foot span, 5,300 cars per day cross the bridge. It's constructed in 1948, and right now it has a 4.67 bridge rating. It is a scour critical bridge, so we're out monitoring it during all heavy rainstorms. It does react quite a bit. Creek comes up, the water does hit the bridge, and the DOT's told us we need to monitor it just to make sure that, we're evaluating and making sure nothing's happening to the bridge during heavy storms. So we're trying to remove that designation and make this roadway a little bit more resilient. That way we don't have to close it during, like this past year, we had 3 storms we were out monitoring it. One of the storms, we did close it for a short period of time.
Okay. Just remind everyone, bridge ratings run on a scale from what to what?
Generally, they do run from 3 to 7. I think that there are a 0, a 1, and a 2, but most of those are for closed bridges.
Okay.
3 to 7.
Right. So 7 is good and 3 is bad, worse.
Correct.
Okay. Just so everybody remembers. Mr. Cheney, this is in your area. Any comments?
It's in Paul's district, but I just, what's the time frame? What's the schedule for engineering and construction?
So right now, we've got a program for design fall of this year through next year. Hopes to construct it in 2026. I know yesterday we talked about potentially doing it during the summertime to avoid any impacts to the school. So we will take that under advisement and most likely pursue that.
One additional consideration we might want to make, and you should probably contact the State Department of Transportation, because they have a major paving project that
Okay.
the last we heard is going to take place either late 25 into 26 or just in 26.
Okay.
And it's going all the way through the village. To have that occurring when there's a detour on this might not be in
We don't want to do
everybody's
that.
best interests.
Sure. The bridge is safe. So if we had to push it off a year to avoid that, we can certainly do that.
Just talk to DOT
We
and
will.
see if they've got as firm a schedule as it sounds like you've got. We've been having trouble pinning them down.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Glad you brought that up. All right. Anything else from committee members? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. H, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget in the amount of $442,676 for preliminary engineering work for the Bloomingburg Road or County Road 76 over the Shongomkill deck replacement, bin number 3345070 in the towns of Wallkill and Mamakating, Village of Blooming Grove, or Bloomingburg, I should say, I'm sorry. Pin number 8763.11. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 40. It's a 95 federal, 5% local to be split between Orange and Sullivan County since it's on the border. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. The federal share at 95%, $420,542. County share 2.5%, $11,067. Local share Sullivan County, the same 2.5%, $11,067. This is a secret type 2 action. No further environmental review will be required. And the $11,067 to come from bonding. Motion in a second, please.
So move.
Second.
Cheney, Fagion, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. So this is a Bridge New York project. We were awarded a grant for it last year, and it's not for a full replacement as we've done in the past with these. We applied for a rehabilitation on this bridge. The bridge structure is rated pretty well. The abutments, the beams, the concrete beams across the creek there are in good shape. Concrete deck is in very poor condition. There's a lot of potholes. We've had red flags where the reinforcement has come through the deck, and we've had to go out and fill the potholes to keep people's tires from popping. So we're just looking for the design money to get this project moving with the consultant. It is on the Sullivan County border. It's right near the intersection of 17K, for those familiar with the area.
Mhm.
It's a 101-foot span, about 6,500 vehicles a day. It was constructed in 1988 with a 4.62 bridge rating. As part of the deck replacement, we're going to demo the concrete deck that crosses on the beams. We're going to replace that, and we're also going to add a sidewalk for pedestrians, because there are commercial establishments on both sides of the bridge at this point. We're working on the IMA with the law department to split the cost with Sullivan County. That's in process as we speak.
How long do you expect it to be closed? If it's the bridge, I think it is. Obviously, there's only one, and that cuts off the entire side of the town, heading up towards the post office and the traffic light. How long do you anticipate them to be cut off and have to go the long way around any way they can?
So it is a rehabilitation. We're not doing a lot of abutment work. We're not working in the stream. So it is an advanced project. So we should be able to get in there, close it, demo it, and replace it within 60 days, I would say.
Okay.
But that's all subject to design and development.
Right. Okay. Right. Mr. Cheney.
Is it gonna be a precast panel that you'll drop in, a deck that you'll drop in? Or-
It'll probably be poured in place, just because, to fit the site and the timing of that, you'll get it all done in pour, as opposed to bringing in multiple things that you have to pour together and tie them together. And it'll be a more cohesive deck.
And yesterday in physical services, the question about the availability of panels from the Tappan Zee Bridge was brought up, and that can be helpful to just respond to that question as well for this committee today.
Yep, absolutely. So the Tappan Zee panels are prefabricated bridge panels. They're 13 feet wide, they're 50 feet long, and they have integrated steel beams. So they work great for our smaller bridges that the county is building with its own forces. But with this 100-foot span, we couldn't span the creek. We'd have to put a pier in the middle. And I'm not sure we even have enough bridge panels to do this bridge. But we do look at them for all of our projects as the first alternative.
And if you had to put the pier in, obviously you'd have to be talking to the DEC and
Correct.
water, so. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Any other questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. I request supplemental appropriation to the airport paving non-FAA. This project has been approved under the 2024 capital plan as project number 16. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. Again, this is in the amount of $50,000. Motion and a second, please. Fagione.
Second.
Cheney. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Gentlemen?
All right, so this project is part of the airport's annual request for non-FAA paving projects. This is a secondary taxiway, which they're proposing to pave around Hangar T2. If you come in the airport, you turn right at the first road, that's Hangar Road. And at the end of Hangar Road is Hangar T2. There is approximately $48,000 left from previous capital projects. It's going to be rolled into this. And it's for secondary taxiway paving, so it's not going to score as high as it would on FAA grant funding as, like a control tower or a beacon or something along those lines that, is for operational type projects.
Is it going to affect the tenants on T2 in any way?
Speaking with Ed in the past, I think that the airport has a lot of equipment stored in here just because the paving's in poor condition. There are leaks in the roof. I think last year we came in for some money to repair the roof. So he's working on getting this to be marketable. But we would work around any tenants that are there, notify them. The paving would happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was thinking so. Okay. All right. Any other questions from committee members? Hearing none. All in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
Next up, Dan. Dan Castricone, Risk Management Officer. This is a request for Risk Liability Reserve Fund to be adjusted upwards by a transfer of $1,010,091.40 from Risk Liability Fund balance. Increases in frequency and severity necessitate the transfer of these funds. Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second. Jane.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, Dan.
everybody. How are you?
Good. Floor is yours.
I can't get very specific unless we go into executive session.
I don't think you need to. I mean, I think everybody gets the gist.
All right, so we've had new kinds of claims that we had to deal with in the past, and we've had some increases in insurance premium, which have also affected that reserve. Our reserve over the years has been around 4 million. And last year it went up to 5 because we've managed to move some money from not our reserves, the fund balance, moved money from reserves into fund balance. The fund balance went up over 5 million. And this year we need to move it back.
Okay.
So how much is in there right now?
Before you guys, if you approve this, it's 5.86.
So 4
Sorry.
so roughly 4.86 right now?
Yeah, to 4.41 after you approve.
But you said it's been steady at 4.44.
Yeah, over the years, it's been, in 2019, it was 4.8, 2020, it was 4.8, 21, it was 3.2, 22, it was 5.6. It's been bouncing around that 4 million number.
Okay. Without giving me specifics, in general, what kind of situations call for money to be taken out of there and dispersed?
Well, as we go through our, it's up to me and our third-party administrator to set prospective reserves on claims as they come in. Right, so we decide what we think this is going to cost, and we try to reserve for things as they come in. We may not pay it out for 2 or 3 years down the line. We may be high, we may be low, but we want to run it consistently where we're putting money aside for things as they come in.
But
Some of these over the last year, and he's been on the settlement committee with me. Some of these particular cases, again, if we go into executive for a second, I could tell you.
I don't want it specific.
Yeah, we feel that we need to reserve for more.
Okay, you can't tell me generally what kind of situations call for money to come out without giving specifics?
Not without telephoning or, telegraphing our settlement strategies.
How many people are on that settlement committee?
Chairwoman Benelli is also on the settlement committee as well as the law department and the county exec's office.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people?
Basically, one person from each department, the legislature, myself, and the chairwoman.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I could tell you outside. So.
It's okay.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, now Carrie Gallagher could not be here today. She's out at a conference, so welcome.
Thank you. Stuff with Michael and Andrea.
Yep, not a problem. All right, so A has been pulled off the agenda. Carrie wants to be, sure that she does that herself as the department head, so that there's questions and the answers are coming directly from her. So we don't want to do anything with A. So we'll move
Anticipate moving that
to next month. Yes.
Yes, March is moving.
Yep, next month.
Mhm.
B is a request to return any unspent funding back to its original source for completed value projects in preparation to close them. Motion in a second, please. Luhan, second. Cheney?
So
Hey, Michael, floor is yours.
thank you. So this is something we're doing with all departments. We're reviewing the capital projects that are currently out. Finance has been working with Dahana and all of her team to decide what projects can be closed. So currently, these are the projects. All these projects have come by funding by surplus. So that is where they're going to be closed back into, and the money will get returned to.
Okay, and just for the record, so everybody knows what we're talking about, the balance, this total is $136,688.91. Questions from legislators? Mr. Hines?
This is going back to the Valley View surplus.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. C is request supplemental appropriation to the finance budget in the amount of $1 million to appoint special district attorneys on the case People versus Edward B. Holly, as per an order of the Honorable James McCarty, AJSC, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, I believe. Funding for this to come from contingency. Motion and a second for discussion. Luhan, I'll second.
Thank you. Just as we did last June, where we came to the table and asked for $500,000. Now, that was for 23 funding. We spent about 323 of that monies. All excess is now going back into contingency and our fund balance, our surplus. And this year for 2024, we're requesting $1 million. And I asked Chris to join me here to answer any specific questions that you may have.
So this is a case where the district attorney's office applied for a special prosecutor to be appointed because DA Ugler had represented an individual in private practice. That was granted. My understanding is that the special prosecutors have the case through the grand jury. So it's now a pending indictment in county court. Obviously, if the case goes to trial, there'll be more expenses to them. My understanding from speaking to the special prosecutors is that because of the age of the case, they're going to have to expend some money, speaking to witnesses who have now moved out of state. And obviously, the case involves expert witness testimony and those types of expenses. The order from appointing them as special prosecutor, I believe, the committee is familiar with, and it obligates the county to pay those expenses. If anybody has any questions for me.
Mr. Hines?
Does anybody from your office review the bills, or is it automatic taken as they come?
The bills get submitted not through our office because of the recusal. However, if there's a question on any of the bills, we've been in consultation both with the department and with the special prosecutors. And I am aware of, from speaking to the special prosecutors, of the type of things that they're spending money on, such as expert witnesses, and there's nothing that I'm aware of that they're spending money on that any prosecutor wouldn't have to spend the same money on.
Who would have a question on the bill though? In other words, the lawyer is not looking at the bills from the county.
It would be the nature of the expense. So for instance, if it's and I don't know exactly what they are, but if there's like a forensic pathologist or a DNA expert that they retained, I know that part of the case involved this rather novel technology that our office was also looking at. And I think that they were being diligent in looking at that technology also. That's something you'd have to pay somebody to look at.
So a bill comes to finance, and if they have a question, who would they call? Who would you have access to? County attorney?
We would call the DA's office.
You're allowed to do that?
Yes.
So you're allowed to look at this one?
I'm allowed to look at the bills, right? I'm just not allowed to.
Well, that was my
I'm just keeping out of the decision-making part of the case. I don't know who the witnesses are, but the financial part of it. And quite frankly, we've been rendering, logistical assistance to the special prosecutor, such as making sure that they're aware of local practices, We've given them access to our databases and our forms for things like discovery, and things like that. And we've let them use our grand jury facilities.
So again, Chris, your title is,
I'm the Chief Assistant District Attorney.
so that means like you're like number two.
I'm the number two. Right?
You're the number two. So it makes sense that you would be able to review for the department whatever is necessary.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm on the DA org chart. I'm right below Dave.
Right. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
Appreciate it.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, sales tax update.
Sales tax. Okay, so we finished 2023 as Carrie had spoke about it quite a few meetings, just a bit under budget. We finished at about 286 million, which is roughly 3 million under plan, or 1%. And some of the contributing factors to that, obviously inflation, where we feel families are spending more money on necessities and having less to spend, less disposable income for themselves. We had quite a bit of inclement weather, fourth quarter 23, where we had, I think it was 8 weekends in a row, which certainly affected our tourism figures. There's cheaper gas prices. As a consumer, I'm thrilled, but that certainly does affect our sales tax. So we plan on keeping you abreast of any trends going forward, and that's it. And
Okay. And again, though, if you look at this colorful chart with the different,
oh, I have,
up-
if anybody needs.
different ups and downs, it just shows that, like you said, it looks like in the very last bit, people with a little bit less spending of money, the dot is, just a quarter of an inch lower than the others
Yeah.
from previous years, so.
2024, you could see we steadily came in under plan for each PM.
But it is amazing how they're very, very similar.
Yes, the trends.
Yeah, the trends are
Absolutely.
amazingly close. Questions from committee members? Hearing none? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is budget.
That's with Terry. We have questions.
Yep. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so A is a request to approve year-end cleanup. Due to bonding being done very late in 2022, the interest for 2023 was not available at budget time. Motion in the second, please. Fagione, Luhan.
Okay, as it stated, due to the bonding that was done late in 2022, our figure for 2023 was not entirely accurate, so we did need a little bit additional to pay that interest.
All right. And the amount is here, revenue side and expenditure side?
Yes.
All right. Questions from committee members? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Budget update.
Okay, I believe you have two status reports. One is for December 2023. That is as of the beginning of February. It is not the year-end figures. It will change. If you look at this, you will see that our total revenue is 665 million for the year as compared to last year where it was 740. I do expect that to change because finance is still putting it through entries for revenue. Our expenses were 688 million compared to last year of 653. That number may change as well, but I don't expect it will change as much as the revenue.
All right.
Questions on that one before I move to the January?
January's good. Go to
Okay.
January.
So for the start of the year, taxation has not yet been posted. We have brought in 175,000 on state aid and other revenues of 1.7 million. If you look at 2023's numbers, the numbers vary differently because the taxation is posted. So that's going to be a big difference. As far as expenses go, our personal services and benefits, the percentages of
the actual are pretty close to what they were last year with 11.6 million in personal services and 7.5 million in benefits. We're at about 7%. Contractual expenses are at 14.8 million and equipment is at 10,000.
Any questions from legislators? All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, deed sale parcels. And here we also have a guest.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Paul is at a conference as well.
Well, that's the time of year
Yes,
for
correct.
for conferences. So Patricia, you have the floor. Well, actually, I should get a motion and second for discussion of the Lujan.
I'll second.
Okay, number one.
They're actually the same parcel. It's two bids on 179 Riley Road in the town of New Windsor. We've had multiple bids over the last 3 or 4 months for these, and we are suggesting the second bid, which meets our minimum of 35,000, but it doesn't fully cover the interest. So if you wanted to, it's up to you guys if you'd like to send it back for 1 more month, see what they come back at. Because each month they've gone up with their bids. And it is a good piece of property. It's got 102-foot road frontage.
It's pretty close, though.
It is
A
close.
bird in the hand.
It's about
Mr. Cheney.
4,900.
So how long are these quotes good for? So the 35,000, if we go back and
We
ask
send-
them for more,
Yeah,
is
we
the 35,000
Correct.
out the window?
Correct.
Lost that.
Correct.
If we don't act on it,
Yes, we send it back.
it gets sent back, so it's lost.
So it's as if there were no bids.
Correct.
So these all get rejected.
You start
and
over.
Start over.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've started in September at 4,000. Then in November, we went up to 13. Then in December, went up to 25. January was at 30. And then this February, we have a 35 or
We're getting closer.
35 and a 15 from
Um,
2 different people.
And one's not even close.
If this is something we shouldn't necessarily be talking about, like, what's the true value, what's the property value?
The full market value of the property is 61,900. So it's about 62.
Send it back.
Mike A.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello there.
Hello there, how are you?
While I appreciate you talking to our court, usually the director will make a recommendation as to what he wants done.
He is recommending yes.
He's
but he
recommending it
is-
does say yes, yes.
Yeah, he
Okay.
does.
I just want to make sure.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, but he is willing to understand if you guys would like to. hold
I'm
back.
kind of,
So he's a yes, maybe.
Yes, that was exactly what is on my sheet, yes or maybe.
I'm kind of thinking after 6 months, we have a bird in the hand of 35.
It's only $4,900
Right.
short for the whole thing. And the part of that is the interest and the penalties.
Right. Right. Any other questions? Okay, Carrie Ann, roll call.
Nagusakis,
Yes.
Fagion,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Luhan,
No.
Cheney,
Yes.
Benton.
Yes,
Motion carries.
excellent. All right,
Gentlemen,
thank you very much. Tell Paul we said hello.
thank you very much.
Tell Paul he missed the roll call,
I know.
which is unusual.
You were excited. Thank you all.
All righty. Motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you very much, everyone. And Mike,
Thank you
you
for the-
made it out on time.
Thank you for the expedited meeting.